first 3 episodes of the new Marvel Disney Plus show Ironheart have dropped on Disney Plus. Here's my review of the first 3 episodes. The show gets off to a rocky but occasionally promising start. Now, tone-wise, the show seems unsure of its audience. It flip-flops between feeling like a teen-targeted Disney Channel series and a darker, more mature MCU entry. One moment it's bouncing along with heist hijinks and upbeat music, the next it's exploring trauma and PTSD. The result is an uneven blend that doesn't really commit to either tone. The title character is a lot more interesting here than she was in Wakanda Forever, though. The writing gives her a bit more depth, particularly as she confronts emotional wounds from her past. However, the actress's performance still feels a little flat in places, especially outside the more emotionally charged scenes. There are attempts to show her grappling with grief, but the delivery doesn't always land. One ongoing challenge is believability. Riri being a college student capable of building Iron Man level suits still stretches credibility, and the show hasn't done enough to ground this feat in realism. At times it asks you to take too much on faith, rather than showing her growth as an engineer or inventor in a compelling way. The show's heist subplot, clearly inspired by Ant-Man, is fun, but also leans very heavily on familiar Marvel beats. The execution feels a little too derivative, like a remix of better MCU sequences without the same polish or charm. That said, Alden Ehrenreich is a standout. His performance injects energy into the show, and his comedic timing is sharp. It's genuinely great to see him shine after the unfair reception of Solo: A Star Wars Story. The twist surrounding his character is one of the more engaging elements of the early episodes, and helps keep the intrigue going. And visually and musically, Ironheart has flashes of creativity. Each episode opens with a different logo sequence, reminiscent of WandaVision's ever-evolving intros, a nice touch that adds personality and helps the show stand out a bit. The music choices are a highlight, particularly a well-timed action sequence in episode 2 that syncs with the soundtrack in a very stylish way. It's one of the few moments where direction, editing, and tone really click. Unfortunately, the show stumbles when it comes to pacing and character development. The villain has an intriguing premise, but isn't given enough time or weight to feel like a real threat, more of an idea than a character so far. Even worse is the plotline involving Natalie, a friend of Riri's who becomes the basis for her AI. There's barely an emotional setup for this transformation. We get these 30 seconds of flashback in the first episode, and then boom, she's an AI. The storyline could have had real emotional resonance, but the rushed execution leaves it feeling hollow. The humor across the show is also very awkward and inconsistent beside Alden Ehrenreich. The jokes tend to land with a thud or feel out of place, further emphasizing the show's identity crisis. There's potential here and glimmers of something better, but overall the show just feels like a lower budget knockoff of Iron Man that hasn't quite found its voice. The show isn't bad, but it's not particularly strong either. It has a few standout elements. Compelling twists, solid music, visually inventive episode intros, but they're weighed down by underdeveloped characters, a tonally confused tone, and borrowed story beats. Unless it tightens its narrative and finds more emotional grounding in the last 3 episodes that come out next week, this show risks being yet another forgettable MCU Disney Plus show. So far for me, this gets a C, a 7 out of 10, and 3 out of 5 stars.